What's up guys? In this video, we are going to be taking this 8x5 room that is completely untouched and we are transforming it into a budget-friendly studio build. In this video, you're going to learn how to take a tiny space and transform it into a multifunctional studio for a very cost-effective way. I'm going to show you some of the gear that I'm using as well as some of the fundamentals that I use when I look at a space to be able to either make it look larger or have a certain design element that can make it really interesting for your audience as well as easy and turnkey. My favorite one, this is great for small rooms. This is the Amaran P60X. It is a warm and cold temperature light that can really just like take care of you if you're in a small space, or even if you're in a larger space and you bring it kind of closer to you, you can have a really nice skin tone. It comes with, actually here's what it looks like once it's put together. It comes with a honeycomb feature and softbox, and this thing is super flat. Look at this. You could put this in your suitcase and not have to worry about trying to find all this extra space. Look how thin that is. It's the size of my face, but it's thin. So it can fit nice and compact, and then you just set it up to look good while you're on the go. I know Becky and Chris were the ones that turned me on to this, and I haven't stopped using them since. I also personally use them myself. So the Amaran P60X comes in at $169, which is great for the amount of power that this comes through. One of the coolest features that I think here too is that in the back you can also connect batteries to it. So you don't have to necessarily have this plugged into the wall. As long as you have a couple of batteries, slot them in, turn it on, and this can be completely remote for you. If you're looking for something small and cost effective, we actually sourced this crazy Zoom bundle package here that comes with headphones, microphone, stand, as well as Zoom H6. We have our Zoom H6 here, which is going to be our audio recorder. This recorder is designed to pick up our microphones that are both here, connected by XLRs that go into each side right here. Right? You can take a look, you can see the XLR. It's important for you to know that in order to turn on this device, you need batteries. Or if you don't have the batteries, you can always take your laptop. I wouldn't recommend this, but you can take your laptop and you can plug it directly into the side where it says DC for the USB connection. And it'll look like something like this. And when we go to plug it in, you are going to be able to turn it on right at the bottom here. So you're going to pull that left and you are going to hold it left and it'll turn on like so. Now, when you're looking at the Zoom recorder, you'll see a couple different numbers, right? Each one of these numbers represents the input channel that you're going to be using specifically for whatever mic that you have. You'll see down here that if there are no mics plugged into each one of these, that's clearly not a mic input. So it's going to be channel 2 and channel 4. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we need to do is two very specific things, right? In order to be able to use our recorder into our ATEM, we have to look at the side here and we need to, one, make sure that the headphone jack, our headphones go into that so that we can monitor it. And then you're going to see something that says line out. You see it? It says line out. You are going to plug in this cord, 1/8" cord, into the line out like so. That cord is going to go into mic 1 on the ATEM. You have everything officially set up for your Zoom recorder. If you're taking a look at this set, we have our key light, we have a couple backlights, and then we have a practical. It's important for you to know our key lights are still gonna stay at 70 to 100%, but as we begin to add more elements to our lighting, it begins to get a little bit more complicated. With our cameras, we have to reduce the amount of light that our camera receives through the ISO, right? This is a setting that gives your camera the sensitivity to light. The lower that number is, the better it is. So if we can increase our lights enough to have a low ISO, then we're doing pretty good. Now, if we're taking a look at this set design here, we have a Govee light that hits the backdrop and reflects off onto me, the subject. it's not directly faced toward me, which is important for you to know because you don't want all the lights facing directly onto you. We only want our key light, remember? We have this to allow separation and the light to bounce and hit around me to where it's not directly on me. Next, we have our Govee strip lights here that are also going to stay anywhere from 10 to 15%. These are color changing. If I'm sitting here and I have this Govee on a certain color, that color, because it is in front of me, if I'm sitting this way, will splash onto my face. This is why it's important that our Amarans stay anywhere from 70 to 100%, and these go anywhere from 10 to 15%, because you do not want blue hitting your face, making your skin look weird and discolored, and you're not getting the right skin tones. If you have any of these lights that are in front of you, you're always going to want to make sure that they are dim enough so that they are not bleeding over onto your face or onto your subject. So now let's do a quick video breakdown of everything that we did to get this tiny room transformed into a full functioning studio, as well as podcast, and how we maximized how we were able to get everything in here and make it look massive while still being budget friendly. So let's start off with our lighting. We have our Amaran P60Xs that are attached to a vari-pole going from one side to the other. Now, I'm normally pretty skeptical about keeping vari-poles like this, so I would say try to get something that puts a blocker in the wall so that it provides extra support, but we pretty much just have the P60Xs just right on the top here, connected to a clamp on both sides with the cords feeding down into pretty much either the center here or the outsides. Continuing on with our lighting, we have the Govees right here on each side, as well as our stand-up wall lights that are going to provide like a nice rim light and fill light to the side that is going to be bounced across the wall so that it's not directly on the subject, because we don't want to blow out the subject. So we have the Govee floor lights that are going to bounce against the wall and provide a nice spread and filler and separate our subjects from the background, because remember, we don't have a whole lot of space. Next, we have our sconces that provide like this nice like practical light here that I personally like. It looks super natural, and it's just like that extra little touch just to add, like, you see this here? Just adds that little thing right there. And it doesn't hit the subject. So the more we can get our subjects separated without so much bleed, the better. That is our current light setup between the Amarans, the Govee lights, and sconces that we have so far. Moving on to our cameras, we have the Sony FX30s attached to both a dummy battery and our HDMIs that are going into the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. The audio is being connected from our Shure MV7s, which are a super cost-effective microphone, into the Zoom H6 through XLR, coming from the line out into mic 1. So that's how we're getting our audio connected from here to here, and then we are going from HDMI out all the way into our monitor that we can have as a viewer, or we can use something like this. Either way. Now the Zoom H6, it's kind of interesting because it comes with batteries, but you can plug it in on the side here for long-term power. But if you want to be able to take it on the road, you can take it on the road with your battery pack. Now that brings us to MV7s that are connected to a couple different boom arms. I actually don't know the name of this brand, and I'm not too sure that I'm in love with it because it's a little difficult to move around. But we have our MV7 microphones attached to these low profile boom arms. That one's not so low profile. That's like a Shure, I think it's a Shure guitar arm or something like that. That one's actually a little clunky to use. I wouldn't recommend that. But what I would do is I would recommend maybe a slightly better low profile boom arm, or if you're gonna go for a boom arm that's like that, I would definitely go for the Rode boom arms they're a little bit higher cost but better quality. But if not, I would definitely say go for like a low profile boom so that the boom isn't in the way of the viewership here. It's like chilling That one's a little difficult because like it bends a little weird, so I might not go with the Shure brand for the boom arms here. And then we have Rode headphones connected directly to our Zoom H6, and that is like a 30,000 foot view of exactly what we're doing here to take a very tiny room and make it into a multifunctional content studio as well as podcast studio. If you like this video, I actually did a breakdown on some of the gear here, so if you want to go a little bit deeper to find out some of the key attributes and some of the unboxings, go ahead and check out one of our previous videos where I break down the H6 as well as the ATEM Mini integration and some of the checklists that you have to make sure that you do to be able to have the best setup. I'm Managerjon. See you on the next video. Peace.